Welcome and welcome back. Well, that did not work.
Well, it doesn't always go by the plans.
Yes. Let's just pretend that no one saw you and I'll do like what we planned. All right. Well, this is what we were trying to do initially. Welcome and welcome back to Be Extra. This is a knitting podcast to be extra, be brave, knit what you want, love what you knit, and then continue expanding your skill. Okay, so I'm so excited because today uh, I have an amazing guest. And this guest is another good friend of mine that I met at the beginning of the pandemic. And this guest is now one of my very close friend in my knitting friends group. And we'll talk about how we met, what type of fiber festivals we've gone to, or what type of bars we have closed during our visits. So this is a continuation of my previous episode where or 2 episodes ago, where I host or interviewed Keenan Goldsmith, which is Keenan is now the first friend from my knitting group that I interviewed in my channel. But now I have this next friend. So grab your project, grab a drink or two, or throw away your project if you have knitted for so long today and you need a break, and sit down, relax, or stand up, stretch your legs, stretch your body, and let's just have a chat. So without further ado without further ado, let's welcome Eva.
Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Well, this is going so well now.
We are
But
amongst friends. I don't think it's a problem.
yes. So, Eva, I am so happy you're here. I mean, I keep telling you, oh my God, I'm so excited about today because for everyone to know, just as a background, I planned this only 3 days ago. So basically, I just asked my friend list, hey, who wants to be, interviewed in the channel? Which is this Saturday, and fun. Eva was the only one who said, "Okay, I'll do it." Wasn't it? Isn't it true, Eva?
Yeah. Well, I might not be the best guest, but I certainly will try my darndest. And I
No,
am excited to be here. It's pretty cool. It's a good change of pace.
yes. Well, okay. So we're just gonna knit. We're going to,
Yeah.
chat, and I already sent Eva a list of questions. So just to make this
I am
interview
somewhat prepared.
okay. And I'll throw in some, some questions that I did not ask you, so just to make it more exciting and
Mm-hmm.
not looking too pre-planned, which
Mm-hmm.
is I don't know. All right, Effa, just for everyone's please introduce yourself however comfortable you want to introduce
Um,
yourself.
okay, well, hello everyone. I'm Eva. Um, where shall I start? I will start with that. I love knitting. I love talking, and now we are going to be talking about knitting, so we are good. You probably noticed the accent by now. I am Hungarian, and I learned English when I already a grown as adult, so this accent is not going anywhere. But we still can understand each other. Um, Stephanus, may I talk about how we met, or is that already part of questions?
Yes, Eva, how did we meet?
Okay,
Such a
so
great interviewer,
um,
right?
isn't it? Because I think it's pretty cool. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I stumbled upon a knitting group that was a very, very fresh and new knitting group with barely half a dozen people signing up so far. And I was
Was
so
that the Facebook?
Yes,
group
it
that
popped up on my Facebook because you know how your phone is spying on you. And the first picture that popped up, it was a bottle of Japanese whiskey. Um, and it said knitting bartender. And
oh,
look at that, my two favorite hobbies. So I
which we remind me to ask you about the other half of that word, those two words. If
I
if I
will.
forget to ask you, you need to remind me. Okay, keep
Okay.
going.
Um, so that's how I ended up on the Knitting Bartender page and joined the group right away. And all this probably takes longer for me to talk about because about in 3 minutes I was already in a voice chat with Keenan, who is the Knitting Bartender. And we had a great big talk and we clicked. Yes, that's Keenan with the huge smile. Um, and
Sorry,
uh,
keep going.
and
Yes.
within days then our little group started forming, so we are kind of the the founding
Oh,
fathers, mothers, whatever. About what is like 10 of us, that stronger group. um
this is an information that I don't even know because I did join on when it was already huge, and I'll let you know
um
how I find how
you
I
you you
found.
you were introduced to me without you being part of it. Keenan told me in one of our little
Yes.
chats that if we would ever have like our own sitcom and we could do whatever. And then he was talking about, okay, what role would Ivana have, or Nicole, or Michael? And he said, oh, and here is this new guy, Stephanus. We definitely have to include Stephanus because he can carry the extra and the drama. So I had that notion before even I ever met you. So, but then through Zoom, because let's not forget, this was all the beginning of the pandemic. So it was all our Zoom meetings and talks and eating together. And we became all good friends. And it's not just about knitting. All parts of our lives are being shared and discussed, and we cheer on each other and we cry together and we talk about stuff, whatever, daily happenings, politics, food, drink, yarn, whatever.
Yeah, because at that time it was really the beginning of the pandemic where we did not have any vaccines yet, and we were basically isolating. Everyone was isolating in their house, and we're coming from all over the world. With the power of social media, we were able to find each other. So yeah, so Eva, now I realize I actually met everyone after the group was formed, and I also mentioned this in this interview with Keenan when I was in Louisiana. So initially, I just searched knitting. So I actively searched knitting group, but
Mhm.
I was searching it through either Facebook search or no, I searched it using Meetup. Uh,
Oh.
uh, full no, application knitting group, and there was online, so everything was online at that time, right? Because we were locked in. So I started going there, and who two people in our group that I first met there. One is Kinan, the other one is
Mhm.
Michael. So Michael used
Oh,
so
you met Michael
everyone.
first?
Yes. So, by the way, I have the intention to interview everyone in our group. And we call our group the night shift, by the way. So, anyway, so yeah, there was Michael and there was Keenan and there were some other people. But then they were telling me, hey, there is this other Zoom knitting meeting that is open 24 hours. At that time it was only geared for male knitters. So I'm not sure if you remember that. So I started going there because it was open for 24 hours. Like anyone can just, jump in at any time, and if there's somebody there
Mhm.
can talk. That's how I met. Uh-oh. And definitely so I wish I can
Thank
take a
you.
screenshot of this. Which, okay, so everyone needs to remember this part because we will go back. We will go back into this and then we will explain you what that was all about. But
Yeah,
anyway,
Stephanus knows well what was that about.
by the way, say hi from me. Uh anyway, so yeah, and then one Friday I was just sitting by myself and apparently Keenan was just jumping between Zoom. I guess he was jumping between the night shift Zoom
Uh-huh.
and that, male only Zoom. And he was like, come over here. So he gave me the night shift link. And then that's how I know him. And then I think when I met you, it was still those Sundays. So there's another meeting where every Sunday at 4 o'clock. Remember?
There was a regular one. Everybody is welcome
Yes.
at 4 o'clock. And when those
Mm-mm.
people got tired or something, then we had an additional channel where we continued well into the wee hours of the night.
Now I remember. Yes. Yeah, he told me that he has this Facebook knitting group. So I joined and then I saw there's this regular meeting. I joined the regular meeting. It was so funny because during the regular meeting, there was hundreds of people, right? When we were just
Yes.
starting.
Yeah. The
And
the
then, yeah,
the group within like the first month or so, Keenan starting the whole entire online group, it like swelled
that's
up to 5,000 people joining.
that is
It
crazy.
it was
Yeah.
like crazy numbers, everyday people checking in, and
Yeah.
those zooms for a long time, those regular Sunday zooms, those were very well attended, and we had to create like breakout groups,
Breakout
so
group.
you can't have a conversation or see so many people on the screen.
Oh
So
yes.
we were bunched into like fives and eights or tens of God knows how many breakout rooms, and then you will still have the opportunity to visit with others, but it was just way too big.
Yeah. Well, also I remember it vividly. Among the sea of people, I can pick out the people that I'm like, I like you. I remember you, Ivana, of course Nicole, and
Yep.
then
And,
Chester, and I
mhm.
already met Michael. And it's so funny that when I, continue chatting with you all, and you all are already in the meeting with Keenan, that is the after hour meetings. I'm like, that is funny. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
so
I think we are a good group of people.
yeah, that was fun. Okay, so before we forget about it, what is your favorite cocktail?
Oh, well, I am kind of an old person loving bourbon because I deserve it. So if I go with a cocktail, it would be a smoky old fashioned.
Mm, smoky old fashioned. Did you? Oh, well, this is the most important question. If anyone needs to take up 1 point from this interview, who is your favorite bartender?
Ah, okay. So it's a trick question because I have two. And
Oh, I did not know that.
well, for the different purposes. Um,
Yes,
I
yes.
am forever
Continue.
grateful for Keenan, the knitting bartender, for creating all this. So that's one I had to mention. But
Right.
the one who brings me the goods. And for a long time, Stephanus, you only knew the hand that reaches into the picture and puts something in front of me. Let it be a drink or some cake or some other goods.
Yes.
That is my lovely husband, who
Oh,
is staying out of the rectangle of
yes.
the screen, but he's awesome. He's awesome. He takes very good care of me, and he thinks it's very important that I find time away from work, which I do way
That's
too
good.
much. And he even supports my habit of buying yarn. um, which is a whole different hobby from knitting. We all know that.
We all know it's a
Um,
separate hobby.
it's a separate hobby, but yeah, I am buying my yarn, I am buying my accessories, I am buying whatever, and I knit. So he's a good guy, my lovely
Y-
husband.
Yes. So the inside joke is every time, well, we usually have a lot of our late night Zoom on Fridays. Fridays, we would be, sitting in the Zoom up and I forgot how long we would, Zoom. But Eva would always have a personal bartender that, would hand her the cocktail at a certain point at the night, and we will only see the hand like this. And I'm like, Eva, do you have a personal bartender? And Eva, oh yes, yes, I forgot to tell you about my husband, blah blah, blah. And so I call him the personal bartender until I met Eva in Chicago. So Eva, is it okay to tell people where
Sure.
you live
Mhm.
in general area Chicago? So one time I visited Chicago, and then finally I met the bartender. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah, and it was a
Right.
lovely visit.
Yes.
I really enjoyed that, coming to our part of the town, and I got to play, the guide and show off our city. That was pretty cool.
Oh
I
my
hope you are
god.
going to visit again.
Well, oh, I will, because I need to go back to see you and also to go back to that bar. But when I first met,
That was a good bar.
oh my god, well, before I go to my next topic, but I remember we keep closing the bars. Uh, so we had Andy also with us. Actually,
No,
I
that
have a
that was a
picture.
DC visit. The DC
Oh my
visit
god, I
was
mixed
the
those two. Yes.
the DC visit was when we were bar hopping, and when one closed, we went to the next. It was so cool, but we had a great dinner to start with.
So
But I thought you mentioned that funky bar when you were visiting over the summer, and it was upstairs, and it didn't look like a bar, and we
yes.
just walked up like of the weird
Oh my god.
stairs.
And then you were charging your phone, and then the guy's like, "Eh, just give me your phone," and then we were just like sitting there, and I remember, yes, and it
Yeah,
was so dark.
it was so dark, and the gentleman to our left bought us drinks.
Yes. Oh
Um, it
yes.
it was a very weird place. The decoration was everything from like a plastic little figurines to like a stuffed duck on the wall, and
I
like
remember
very
now.
eclectic weird things that you wouldn't even see right away because it was dark. You weren't kidding.
Yes.
It was dark.
It was dark, and we went there maybe like 5 p.m., right? Because we went there
Oh,
after,
it
I
it
remember.
probably wasn't even 5 p.m. It
No,
might have been earlier.
because we took the river cruise, and the river cruise was in the middle of the day. I remember because you told
Mhm,
me wear sunscreen, and I was
mhm.
wearing your sunscreen. That was actually a nice sunscreen, and we keep being distracted in this interview, which
And
is
the
amazing.
credit for that goes to Chester because
Chat.
Chester introduced me to that
Okay.
sunscreen.
I have so many people I need to interview. Right, that sunscreen. Which did you get that? Oh, Chester got it from the.
Chester got it and he brought it to the Wool Festival, and I was using his at the Wool Festival. So after that, I bought one for
You.
myself, and that's what you used.
And then I met you in Chicago, and we were on the boat, on the roof of the boat, for the river cruise, and it was really really
It was an
sunny.
architectural tour,
Oh
and
yes, yes.
we learned a lot about all those beautiful
Daisy.
skyscrapers and everything.
Didn't I learn about Daisy,
I am not sure.
the cow?
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, the cow who supposedly kicked over the lantern, and that's how the great big Chicago fire started. Yes. I was not sure what Daisy you were referring to, and it didn't click for me.
I think one thing that I took away from that tour was poor Daisy, and didn't they absolve or something that Daisy did
Yes,
not? It was
I
not
don't
Daisy's fault.
yeah, I don't remember the year, but because it was such a big story and it, it might or might not have happened that way. We don't know. It was a very long time ago.
Yeah, there was no
And
ring camera.
somewhere around the turn of the century or mid-century of 90, I don't know. There was some legal proceeding that
Yes,
officially said that poor Daisy, you are okay. It doesn't matter hundreds of years ago you died. Poor cow, but it wasn't your fault.
it
So
wasn't
nobody should be angry with
right.
Daisy anymore.
Daisy. Even though I also learned about some Daisy song or Daisy related children's song, but there was a lot of learning during my Chicago visit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We visited Sears Tower.
Sears
That
Tower.
I know it is not Sears Tower anymore. It is Willis Tower, but only strangers call it Willis Tower. People who live here, they call it Sears Tower. So going up there, um, the way, because it is planned for lots of people and tourists. While you are waiting and snaking around hallways and everything, it is an exhibit throughout the whole entire building until you get up to the top floor and you can take in the view. So all that learning about the various Chicago neighborhoods and
Right.
typical foods and also the
Well,
other things that, and Daisy was there.
Daisy was there, and also how many feet the top of the Sears Tower will sway
Well, there is a
daily.
face group for that, that Americans would use anything but the metric system when they are describing
Right?
anything. Yes, there is a face group for that, and they make fun of that. Oh, instead of saying how heavy something is or how far something is, the article or the Americans will say, well, if you put, 2,500 Chevy Impalas on top of each other, or it is like 5,000 of
Yeah.
snowballs, whatever.
Yeah.
So anything but the metric system.
Right. It is interesting to read though that exhibition. How what type of units they use to,
Yes.
I guess, to make it to have people easily correlate that with regular daily life. But I've seen like
Um, I
2,000 whales or
I
something. I'm like,
think
I
it
don't
is
even
it
know how heavy a whale is.
and have I ever seen an actual whale in its full size and glory?
By the way, this
Unfortunately, I
is
have not. So how am I going to imagine so many of them on top of each other?
this is how our Zoom is. People will just start bringing the discussions up. By the way, I have a full list of
Okay, let's go. Sorry, I
no, no,
stopped distracting you.
no. No, it's amazing because I forget how we do our Zoom. We never make a list. We just
No.
remember one time we discussed about the word or the color mauve or
And that's exactly what I was going to say. That was a very memorable Zoom. I do not remember how long it lasted, but we literally spent hours describing the color mauve and bringing examples, and everybody was reading their stash and bringing things and yarn or finished object. Is this mauve? No, this is a different one. And we came up with all sorts of stupid names for the colors. That
Mhm.
was a good one.
That was a good one, but I don't think I learned anything from that discussion. What I learned was we can talk about things that
we
we
can
just don't have any
we
summary.
we really can't talk about anything. Okay, sorry. Go to
Okay,
your list.
no.
Let's go to the list.
So no, I feel good now that we covered the cocktail and your two favorite bartenders. If this platform starts to decide to stop, with all this technical difficulty, it's perfect. But we still have a lot of questions I want people to know. Okay, so are you excited for Rhinebeck this year? Can you tell me what you will be
Oh yes,
doing for
God, I
Rhinebeck?
am. I am. So I have not been to Rhinebeck before the group. And we have
I
been
forget
there
about that.
together as a group 2 years ago. and not last year. So it
Yeah.
was 2022 when we went, and it was amazing. I felt just happy. I I'm sure people can relate when you are in that state of mind that you don't care about the daily crap, and I just felt happy. Oh, I was so pretty. And Stephanus, you took that picture.
Did I?
And
I don't
yes, you
remember.
did. Yes, you did, because I took one of you too in front of the same
Oh,
pretty
you're
tree.
right.
Now,
Continue.
now, what I'm wearing there, that red thing, it is
Uh-huh.
the pattern called Multnomah, like the waterfall Multnomah. I am forgetting the lady who created the pattern, and the original one was in blue, and
You
that
can
was too
send me
cold
the
for me.
information
I
after this and
sure
I'll
will.
put it.
I sure
Yeah.
will.
Uh-huh.
Um, and that is mulberry silk yarn. That's
Oh,
mulberry
okay.
silk mixed with
Is it
alpaca.
is it fingering
It is
or
fingering. It
lace?
is it
Okay,
it
it's
is it is
fingering.
fingering. It is fingering. Yes.
Very nice. Look at
Yes.
that.
So I decided
You
to
did
make that
really
in
well.
red, and it doesn't show on the picture, but it is joined in a way that the pattern goes for
Oh,
a long
yes.
rectangle,
Uh-huh.
and then you fold the rectangle back and don't join the two ends, but you join the short end to
To
one of the long ends edge. So
okay.
it created a sort of like a poncho.
Yes, I was gonna
So
say.
it is joined. It is not a shawl.
Yeah.
And it was fun to knit. It is a very simple repeating lace pattern,
Lace.
but not
Yeah.
overly complicated at all.
Okay.
I liked it. It was fun.
And at that time, that Rhinebeck was perfectly timed because this popular tree, I'm pretty sure if people
Mhm.
have been at Rhinebeck,
Yeah.
this tree, we're waiting for this tree to show this color. But I think last year, the tree was already over the color.
Oh,
So it
well,
was not,
hopefully we are
yeah.
going to be luck this year. So we were there in 22, a group of us from the same night shift, and it was great fun. There we are.
Oh my
Um,
God.
it was awesome. And last year it just didn't really work out, timing and everything. So we are planning on going again. We already have a great place secured, thanks to Stephanus, staying in a cute little house. And we are getting our plane tickets, and we are going to meet there. Yeah. So okay. So while you are at it, may I introduce who is on the picture?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so
You
let's
want to
let's
start
go from
with
yes.
this
So
amazing
blue
person?
blue scarf, gray hat, glasses. That is Chester, and we already mentioned Chester because he introduced us to the fantastic sunscreen that I bought after that.
Yes.
Blue hat, colorful scarf with the chevron zigzag. Nicole. Nicole is our pride and the apple of our eye. Nicole just
Oh,
freshly completed her
graduated?
doctorate degree, and we are so
Yes.
proud of her. Um,
Congratulations, Nicole.
yes, and well, that's little me standing there. That shawl is
That
Nantucket.
is another huge one.
Yes, that is actually a big one. It was a 2.5 skein pattern, which I used 4 skeins to complete. So it became ginormous, but
Fingering,
I
yeah?
love it. Yes, fingering.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. That's pretty much a
Um,
sweater. Yeah.
Yes, it's huge. And that lady over there is Ivana. Ivana
Oh.
is fantastic. Ivana and I share lots of background stuff because I am from Hungary and she is from the former Yugoslavia. So
Mm.
that Eastern Bloc and our childhood memories match. Um,
Oh.
Stephanus, help me out. Is the shawl that's
Yes.
Ivana is wearing, is that her own, or is that the one that you made
Eh,
and allowed her
yes.
to wear?
So that is actually a gift from me for Ivana by accident. And I was not being fair to everyone because I did not give everyone a chance.
Well, she was quicker and she claimed it, and you said yes. So I can't blame you. But next time I will be faster.
You have to be fast. So that is the Hohi Locatelli Frank shawl, based on the American artist Frank. I will put the information here, but the Frank shawl, and I put mohair, I put everything on it, and then I did not add more skein, so I was just using the actual suggested
And it is
size.
a funky shape.
It
Tell
is a
us
funky
about the
shape.
shape. It is a
The
very funky
shape,
shape.
basically, it is made of three big, sort of triangle, but the triangle has two legs, and
Kind of trapezoid in a
kind of, yes, and
weird
then
way.
right, and then they are not combined, like unified by one of the side of each triangle. So anyway, it's really at the end it is like a trapezoid because of adding three triangles, and it's based on one of the art piece by Frank, the artist. I think it's again, I might be wrong. I think the title was a set of on arts from India or something. I might be wrong, but I need to go
Mhm.
back, where Frank got his inspiration, but Hohi got the inspiration from that art piece. So, and then she titled it the Frank Shawl. But yeah, it was an interesting one. But I did not make it, extra big, because again, this a podcast is called Be Extra. I need to be extra, but I was just making exactly what it was suggested. And then I brought it to Rhinebeck, and Ivana saw it from my luggage and then asked me, "Hey, what is this?" while she was wearing it. And it fell perfectly on her frame. And
It
I'm like,
fit her so well.
and and my answer was like, well, I guess it's now your shawl by by me
Yeah.
that I made from a
Mhm.
Hohi Locatelli design. But yeah, that
Yeah.
was, but we have another person in
Yes,
that
yes, yes.
picture.
We still have. Okay. Well, we are going to go to you last. Okay. So
Yes.
we are now talking about Michael. Michael is awesome. Michael is the only person I have ever met who can knit, walk, and talk at the same
Yes.
time, and no less than like three, four colors at the same time, like
Mm.
color work. It is a very specific talent that he walks around, tick, 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 tick,
Yes.
looking you in the eyes, talking to you, holding a full conversation, and producing something like you see him wearing. The
Right. The
multiple
color work.
colors, pattern, and
Exactly.
everything. I have no idea how he does that. That is like a
Yes.
very specific trait in, I don't know. Um, he is also probably one of the fastest knitters I know.
Yes.
Well, he actually posted a couple of Instagram little shorts, and I cannot count the clicks, how quick he knits. I don't know, his needles just move by themselves. So Michael is awesome. um
Yes.
can we go to you now, Stephanus, because I really would
Oh,
love you to talk about the
it's
sweater,
just
unless you already covered it in one of your podcasts.
no. Yeah, this sweater is a fingering a cardigan that my first staking sweater, and so I just worked it in a round, and then it's based on a fabric or a garment from North Sumatra, where my parents came from. And yeah, but I'm not as amazing as Michael walking and knitting color work. But that was fun. That was one summer I made it, and I think the summer of the Rhinebeck that we went to, so it was,
Could be. Well, see, the
yeah.
sticking is something that I have zero interest in.
Well,
that's that's no, no.
Exactly.
No, thank you.
You know me. I'm always trying to be extra. And one
And
day I
that's
was like,
that's amazing. That's amazing. That's why we keep you around because we do need that. My
right?
knitting style is I am not even if I can describe it. Depending on my mood and mental state. When I am using knitting as an escape from all the other things, I
Mm-hmm.
love to complete literally physically big projects, like a blanket or a shawl that can
Mm-hmm.
cover three people, something big, because I can nicely, and this is the positive thing, I can nicely get lost in the monotony of
Yes.
knitting.
Yeah.
And it can be a very simple pattern or it can be something more complicated, but as long as I can memorize it, it becomes automatic. And if I am watching TV while I am knitting, then neither of those things get done. I know there are many people who can watch, like a whole entire series and
Yes.
just click, click, click. I can't do that. I can knit without looking, but I
Looking
don't like to.
too. Yes.
I like to be immersed in that what I'm doing, and I love to see how the project is growing and growing and growing.
Mm-hmm.
And it calms my soul when I have the repetitive motion. So
Motion.
I have no money for therapy. I spend it all on yarn.
Well, okay. Speaking of spending it all on yarn, what are you working on? Please describe
Okay,
and tell
so
me the story on.
everyone, this is a setup. He knows what I'm working on, and there is shame at my end. Okay, so here we go. Full
Because you
confession.
are one of the people that made our group do this. So you need to tell everyone what you did, what happened, and
Okay,
why
okay. So I
until now we are still
we are
talking
start
about
we
it.
are starting all over. We are starting all over. So the 2022 October
Oh my God.
Rhinebeck Festival. Before we even entered the festival, Stephanus took us on a tour because there were other events
Yes.
around the same town or neighboring town and such, local yarn store, pop-up
Hmm.
events, things like that. So we had the full immersion of everything. And we visited this little store. Stephanus, you have to help me out with the store name because that I don't remember.
A perfect blend in
Perfect band. Okay.
Saugerty, New York. I will also put
Okay,
it when I
so
edit.
this was a small place. Two people leaves, so two people can enter. That
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
and
small
that
place.
was so crowded, but which is
It was
good.
very
I love that.
crowded, but in a
Yes.
somewhat loopy fashion. If you entered here, you could go around, look at stuff, and then leave the other way. And we entered, and at the end of the loop, so the back of the store, there was a wall that had these combo yarns, a boucle yarn matched up with a mohair skein and packaged together, and there were displayed four patterns that were meant for this little combo. Great marketing strategy, hats off, and we
I don't know.
all
I
we
think
all
they.
fell for it.
I still believe that they contacted you before we went to Rhinebeck so that you make our group all bought this thing.
I
Anyway,
I don't
continue.
think so. I completely fell for it because I really like three of the four patterns, especially the one that they very smartly had someone make it and it was displayed in the store. And I was just, I have to have that. I can't leave without that. And because these combo kits were in multiple colorways, maybe I bought more than one, maybe. And my enthusiasm somehow got stuck on other parties of the group, and I think we all bought at least one kit. And
At
I
least.
know
At least.
at least.
And
So
by kit, it is two really, really, really nice yarn, and they are
Beautiful. The
not.
yarn itself, sometimes the yarn is so pretty, you just don't want to do anything with it, just fondle it and keep it close to you and maybe
Yeah,
never knit it because it's too pretty. It was
yeah,
that kind.
yeah.
It
And
was
I
that kind,
spent.
but Ivana got brave. Ivana got
What did?
brave and she
Oh,
knitted
you're
it.
right. Yes.
But she bought the kit that was like very beautiful in the yarn form, but
Hmm.
I wouldn't be able to imagine before knitting it up what it will look like because it had like splashes of colors. It was very multicolor one. And when she knitted it up, it kind of looked like the, rainbow barf. It was not a pretty color anymore. And
And we're
well,
not gonna name of the brand. We're just
no, that
talking
doesn't
in
matter.
general.
It doesn't matter. The yarn was beautiful, but it was not meant for this project because it did not look knitted up. It was not good. And
Well, the whole idea here, after some of us started working on it, we started asking each other, why in the world did we buy this? Like 2 years
yes, but
ago.
I am still convinced that we were influenced by the doubt that Ivana sowed amongst the group because admittedly she's a tight knitter. And the project, when she finished,
Oh,
not only it
yes.
was a weird color,
Much
it was like a
smaller.
baby size.
Yes,
Hers
yes.
was very, very little. And that kind of made us think that was it not calculated correctly in the pattern? Were we supposed to buy two to make one of the projects? And I know that Chester said he was kind of, well, maybe this wasn't the best idea. I am not sure if he knitted it or not, but okay. So all this, lots of talking, brings us to what am I making? And
Yes.
look, finally I started. So the big
Oh, okay.
triangle, the big triangle is the
That is
boucle
beautiful.
part. Now,
So,
what you see, the very, very maybe
that is
2 inches
beautiful.
or so,
That
that
is
is the
beautiful.
lace part.
Yes.
So the boucle is a skinny big triangle, and
Uh-huh.
then you are picking up the stitches from so it has two very long ends and the skinnier end. So from the
Yes.
skinnier end, you are picking up the stitches, and you
Hang it
will
up again.
continue.
Hang it up again
You
so we can see
so
longer.
here you go. So it is joined. You see,
That is
it can be seen.
beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, so I picked up those stitches and you continue with the lace pattern, and that is a single strand mohair. It is, like
Yes.
very
Yeah.
skinny single strand mohair.
So,
And that is
okay.
going to be a big, big lace triangle. What I held up the boucle part, that is the little part. The big part is going to be the lace part.
So is the booklet part done? Is that it?
Yes, yeah,
But you
the
have
boucle
a
part.
full 400 yards of boucle, right?
Yeah, yep.
So you have a lot of leftover for the boucle.
No, not really, because
Oh.
learning from Ivana that she said that hers turned out to be small even when she blogged it, I
Ah.
decided to use it up, and I used actually it I might be wrong in remembering the numbers. I
Mhm.
think it was for a size 3
Yeah.
and or size 4, and I used the size 6 needle
You
to
mean the
make sure
US
that it
size?
it is it is loose enough. Look, it is
Yes.
stretchy.
Yeah,
Because
there is.
when I block it, I want it to be big enough. And
Yeah.
let's hope
Well,
the and I am going to use the mohair as long as I still have
as
any
long.
left,
So this
because
is my question. Oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
it is the kind of pattern that you are knitting
You
until
can.
you are done. If you have more yarn, the triangle is going to be
So
bigger. If not, then you stop.
so this is my problem. I've never worked with boucle before. And
Hmm.
I thought that, like when I started working with mohair, people say, "Oh, be careful with mohair. It's difficult to undo it if you make a mistake." But to me, mohair is fine. Even if I make mistake, yeah, I can undo it. Maybe some flying fibers, and it's just
Hmm.
not nice if you undo too much. But boucle, it is so difficult for me. Like if I make a
Oh,
mistake,
was
those
it?
there's little like
The
that those
knobs you found
it's difficult
complicated?
to exactly. So that is my not my problem. When I started working on it, I'm like, all right, I'll figure it out later. But that's 2 years ago now. So what I'm trying to say is my $80 worth of this freaking
Oh
kit.
my. Okay.
Sorry.
So I am stepping back one and giving some information about myself. So
Okay.
I learned knitting from my grandma
Oh yes. Tell
when I
me,
was.
tell the audience, if you knit, crochet, how do you
Yes, yes.
learn, and
That's where
how
I'm
long have
getting,
you?
because
Yes.
I was just going to say my grandma told me. So, but for that you need to know how grandma comes to the picture. So, my grandma was a knitter and crocheter.
Okay.
I learned both. I favor knitting. I haven't crocheted in a long time. I really, really prefer knitting. And this was about when I was like, 7, 8 years old, something like that. So little
Okay.
kid. And the school system where I grew up in Hungary also has a subject for elementary school kids, what is something like the home economics for the
Sure.
American kids, but there was nothing home and economics about it. It was like practical things. Like
Things,
in fourth grade, we learned to sew first
of
by
course.
hand and embroidery. And then when we were in fifth grade,
Machine.
we learned how to make patterns for clothing and how to use a sewing machine. We also learned knitting. We learned some woodworking. We learned some metalworking, like a little bit of this and that. But the knitting really, the fibers really stuck with me. But that started with my grandma. And grandma was, it's like she was old, so she learned it when she was a kid, and it was a thing that you were supposed to do if you are a female. So she had lots of
Okay.
practical experience, but not like, oh, reading patterns and fancy stuff. You showed her something and she said, okay, I can make that for you, and she
Reverse
figured it
engineer.
out. So
Mm-hmm.
my beginnings were never patterns. I
Okay.
was taught how to read your own knitting, the stitches, the shapes, the how to fix something, how you go back, how you figure it out if something is wrong. So I am very practical. And I was only introduced to patterns much later, and that was a whole different thing, learning how to read a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
I was taught to figure it out. And so I am telling you all this to get to the boucle. I was taught if you are knitting with something uneven, like a boucle,
Yeah.
you don't pull your stitches to the shape, but you let those little gobs take off their own space. So I don't know if it
Ah.
shows that
Yeah.
my
Now it
my
totally makes
knitting
sense. I know what you're
my
talking about. Yeah.
my
Keep going.
knitting might look uneven here, and I take pride in it that my tension is pretty. My knitting looks like very nice, but this one is almost messy because you leave those little knobs alone, and they are going to take up their own space. And when I am wet blocking it and it is going to be pulled and stretched, my regular stitches will show my regular nice tension, and the little gobs are going to take up a little bit more space, but they stand out. And all together at the end, it should be fine.
So this is an amazing learning from you, Eva. Thank you, because
You're
no
welcome.
one no one ever explained me how to do, because like what you said, when I tried to work with the boucle, I tried to make the boucle, the little, what do you call it? Knob, whatever.
I don't
It
know. I called it little knobs.
whatever, right? I thought like what this is really world shattering thing that to hear, because I always thought that as an extra thing. I always think of the yarn to make the perfect, knit stitch. So I try to really jam this knob thing every time I run into it, and I'm like, forget it, I cannot. So now, lady,
Yep.
everyone, the
Let the yarn be yarning the way it wants to.
eh, see, that's a great motto in life. Let the yarn be yarning how it wants to, and also leave the knobs to take their own space. I love that. Like, leave things where they should be to take their own space. Wow, we
I
learned we
am
learned a
so
lot.
happy I feel useful today.
No, by the way, we did not schedule this learning session, but I
No.
know I learned a lot. No, now, you know what? Now I'm so excited to go back to that darn. You know what I'm trying to
No, it's
say.
it's it's gonna be good. It's gonna be
Okay,
good. And
while
let
go
me
ahead.
let me finish with that. That
Yes.
why I still have higher hopes even after getting that negative feedback from those of us who already completed it, because I picked um a kit that is almost uniform in color. So you see a little bit of darker, you see a
So
tiny bit of
no,
lighter, but
you
it
are
is
amazing on
almost the
that.
same. So this
You
is
are
not going
amazing.
to be a rainbow barf, and maybe altogether, even if the size is not getting to where I want it to be, it's gonna be at least decent.
No, you have a great vision when you put us into, the bandwagon that you were driving in that yarn store. But no, but the one that I chose is just like what you have, but it's darker. The color is
Yeah,
amazing. I want it to be something. It's just now I know to leave the knobs where they should be
yeah, there you go.
and give
Leave
them
the knobs
space.
alone. Yep,
Leave the
and
knobs
they will be
alone. Don't
just
try to.
fine.
Thank
They
you
will
so
be
much.
just fine. You're
While
very
we're
welcome.
while we're still on this darn yarn, what is your favorite color?
Oh, you can guess. Look around. Look at my project. What do you think my favorite color is?
Yes. I remember you also told me, because I geared always towards blue, dark blue, and maybe brown, but then you told me play a little bit with colors. So actually I picked up green, but darker green, maybe like forest green.
Okay,
I don't
that's
know.
pretty. That's
Yeah,
pretty. We
no,
like
it
that.
is really intense green. So it's kind of like not this green, but more not forest. I guess I don't know how to say it, but one day I will finish it
Like
and
olive, similar to the sweater behind you.
so this sweater is actually this guy. So yeah,
Mm.
so this, by the way,
Oh, it,
this,
it might be the light. I thought the skin was lighter
yeah,
than the.
yeah. So this is Vika
Hmm.
pullover, Brooklyn
Hmm.
tweed. I just finished that. No, it's, I don't know. It's more on the green side, but darker and less olivey. So more leafy. So I don't know how to say it. One day
I like
I'll
that.
just, I'll
That's
just have to show it.
that's a good color. Yeah.
So now, while we're on rainbow, do you have any object that you made with rainbow? Because
I have
rainbow can be
plenty.
beautiful.
I have
We're not saying
plenty.
in this channel that rainbow is horrible. No, rainbow is beautiful. So if you have an example, would you mind sharing with everyone?
I do, but I don't have it handy because I'm
Oh,
silly and I didn't pile up my rainbow stuff here.
I will
So
show.
I am
I-
going to start with propping up a friend, Laura, whose Be Kind, Always Be Kind yarn is my favorite. And this is the colorway is it is Rainbow After Storm, and that
Oh,
explains the gray stripe.
yes. Oh, that's cute.
Otherwise, it is very, very vivid. And that was a pair of socks I was working on, and my son has that. Now,
Oh,
from the
okay.
same same place, Laura's Yarn, Always Be Kind, I have a bunch of different colorways. Some of them are more subtle rainbow, some of them are very strong rainbow, some of them are neon-y, some of them are with shorter strips.
Mm-hmm.
The specifics of her yarn is that these yarns come calibrated for these projects, and they are
Ah,
stripy.
okay.
Um, so if you are buying sock yarn, your socks will be perfectly striped, just like that. So I really, really love that. And they are all superwash merino, fantastic. Now, what you see, and Stephanos is pointing, is it is a very specific heel. Did you notice that the stripes didn't
Mm-hmm.
go away when it came to the heel?
When
It
it's in the
doesn't have
heel.
an insert of a different color, or it doesn't break. The pattern called Diamond Heel Sock pattern, it is also Laura's work, and it uses this very specific diamond thing that you need as you are working on the sock. It is not an afterthought or anything like that. It is part of it, and it does not break the flow of the stripes. So I really like it, and it is still a good shape. It hugs your feet. It is the right shape. I really love it. So it is a great pattern, the Diamond Heel Sock pattern.
Yeah.
Um,
And
I used her yarn to make quite a number of hats. I made fingerless gloves. You name it. I made a shawl. The shawl works out differently, obviously, because it does not have the same proportions as the smaller circumference things, and the colors are not stripy anymore, but I can't explain. It looks nice.
yeah, I
So great.
think she also has a sign pulling colorway to make one of those sign pulling, patterns. It was
Yes,
big
she
a
does
couple
that,
years
and
ago.
she also kind of custom made for me because I really
Oh
liked
yes.
blue and gray together. I made
Oh my god,
this
that is so beautiful.
with
You
her yarn.
you have
It
to
is
just send me info also on that. That is beautiful.
it is the Taina shawl.
Okay.
And I don't have the wingspan to show off the
Oh,
whole entire thing.
no.
So you
Yeah.
see, it's kind of curling.
Yes.
So when it is done and blocked, it is like a
Moon shape.
swirly shape.
Oh, yes, yes.
And that's how you block it. And that is awesome because the part that hugs your neck when you are put it on, it gives itself to the
Naturally.
swirling it around and making it
Yes.
nicely
Right.
formed.
So it
But
follows the
yes,
curvature.
it follows and
Yes.
allows for,
That
without
is
bunching up on your shoulder,
yeah.
to have a nice experience. But I really love it. Isn't it
I
pretty? Look
love
at that
it.
blue and the gray,
So
how nice it
Laura,
goes from one to another.
yeah. So
It's just
Laura
pretty.
specifically made this for you, this colorway.
Yes, yes.
Wow. I love it.
She sent it to me, and I was so happy. Okay, look, and it is an asymmetrical shawl, so this is the kind of point of
Yeah, yeah,
it.
yeah.
But if I
Yeah.
fold it in half, you will see that this one ends, and the
Yeah.
other one part has like a much longer. It's like another half of it. So it's a
Nice.
very funky shape. It's a very funky shape, but I really like it.
Yeah. And also for everyone, please, if you want to know more, we love Laura. We always support Laura. Laura has Instagram at Always Be Kind Yarn. Laura also started a YouTube channel at Kindful Knits. And Laura also has a lot of pride flag colorway, and I did not bring any of my knitted product because this is
Oh, your
Eva.
that brown project you have.
Yes, this is your time,
Oh,
Eva. So I'm not showing anything, but I I did have a
but
lot of
still,
Laura.
but still.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So Laura is awesome. She has all sort of pride colors, not just the rainbow, but
Mm-hmm.
everything else from the LGBTQ plus and all the other letters you can imagine. She has all the colorways. I know that word is just getting longer and longer
I
every
know
day.
it is, but yeah, I remember I asked Laura, "Can you make a bear pride colorway on, brown background or cream background, a black background, a gray background?"
Mhm.
So I made a lot of socks with them, DK socks, and then I wear them whenever it's winter. And
But
yeah, they're
you have a
amazing.
cowl too,
I
isn't that
also right. I
that's a very
also
nice one. I like that.
yes, I got a fingering one that I made turn into a cowl with a bear paw. Maybe I will highlight it in. Oh, that's a good idea. So I will talk about it at the end, but I think I will highlight it during June, leading up to June. But yeah, definitely check out
Okay.
Laura's yarn.
I just got an idea. I will message you about that because we all
Okay, please
have
do.
bright color projects. We could do like a
Yes.
whole entire exhibition of just the bright color projects that
Ooh,
we
I
completed.
would love that. It just makes it just means that I need to figure out the technology, not like today where I was like, "Oh, I will hide you after the banner, after the
And I was
countdown,"
there.
and then both of us was
And
there.
that's okay. That's okay. I don't think that's a problem.
Anyway, that was. I can't believe. By the way, we did not plan to have a 1 hour. It's already 1 hour,
Oh
Eva.
my gosh, I was not watching the time. Well, feel free to cut it wherever.
How was your cocktail?
Nice. I still have a sip because
S-
I don't done the whole thing at once. It
Well,
takes a long time. It's nice.
because that's how you because
Mm.
I saw that ice cube or ice is if I like but the bartender is amazing. They make it like how
That was like a globe ice.
yes.
Yeah. Oh, and this. May I talk for a moment about this?
Please do. What
Okay,
is
because
that?
this is one of my favorite things. For so long, I struggled with
Okay.
counting and putting stitch markers and yarn and writing down and using an app that counts my rows and patterns and whatnot. Nothing worked. I get distracted between two stitches, not to mention between two rows. Okay, so my brain is just all over the place.
Mhm.
And my so I have three children,
Yes.
husband, and a cat.
I
That's
met
the
one of
family.
your children.
Yes.
Yes.
So I have a daughter and I have two sons. They are all adults. I'm an old lady here. So
No, you're
um
not.
it's okay. My two sons play D&D and
Yeah,
some other
yes.
things. And they
Yes.
have all these fancy dice and whatnot. If you know about D&D, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then don't even worry about it. It's a whole entire other world of gaming. Um, and this
Okay.
ring is something
Hold
that
on.
is okay.
Let me
It is
make
not
you
doing a nice job with the focusing. Okay, so those are numbers. Okay, those are numbers, and this twists both sides twist. I can twist both sides. My camera is not doing a nice job with focusing on the ring. So anyway, it is black, it is shiny,
I
and it
can
has
see it.
numbers on it,
Yes.
and it has
Yeah.
two halves that both can turn.
So
And
does it go up to 9? So technically you
it
can go to
goes from
99?
0 to 9.
Okay,
So
so
you
you
can have anything between
0 to 99.
00 to 99.
Yes. Okay.
And I use this for row counting. This was supposed to be a gaming
That
ring for D&D for counting their turns.
interesting.
And I love it. And on purpose, I bought a very big one. It's a huge
See,
size
Eva.
that goes on my thumb because I am knitting and that is the finger I see. I don't see my other fingers. I knit continental. I hold the yarn on my pointy finger on my left and I move mostly with my right. So I can't use the other fingers. So my left hand thumb is the one that is always in front of me. And that's the easy one when I'm done with a row. Click, next one. Click, 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 click. Next. I love it. This was one of the best purchases gadgets I ever gotten.
Hold on. Whose idea was this?
Um, it was mine. I just repurposed it from one purpose to another.
Before anybody snatch it, we need a branding person. We need to rebrand this item and make it a knitting item.
I don't know. I can approach them. It was from Amazon, so I can look it up where it came from. I'm sure that it
Look,
works.
if anyone starts using this for knitting, that came from Be Extra, an episode, an afternoon with Eva and Stephanos. Yeah,
Yeah, aren't
but
we fun people?
no. But no, from I did not expect to learn anything, but I'm telling you, I'm so excited to go back to that crazy boucle, and
Yeah, I'm glad I was helpful.
I'm
It
going
works
to give
much better if you don't fight it. Don't fight it. Just
yes.
let it.
That's the thing. Do not fight the boucle. I wish they would have told me that when I bought it. Well, I mean, they should not say anything when you
They
buy
didn't
something.
know that was a needed advice.
And also thank you for your grandma because that you know what? Now I'm ready to be a grand something, like a grand
You are way too young for that. You can do that.
can I be a grand diva or a grand
Yes, that sounds
sass?
great. That sounds great, though.
Grand sass. Yes. Now I'm ready to be a grand sass and say, hey, don't fight your yarn. You know, I think that's
Yeah,
a good, yeah.
yeah. You can just spout those wise things, and you are going to be fine.
Well, Eva, it is really amazing. I don't want to take a lot of your time because I know you there are so many questions that I did not I just want to say, hey, can I know you're going to have dinner with family and I know you taught me about paprikash and I was going to ask you, can you put paprikash on everything because after that Rhine bag, Eva gifted me with a bottle of paprikash or paprika. Please,
Paprika. The end
paprika.
product when you cook with it is paprikash, but the spice itself is
Is
paprika.
paprika. And I started putting on everything, my salad, my Indonesian food. But anyway, and
Yes,
I
you
started
can.
making paprikash because in that house we had an Airbnb and we have, just like everyone else that go to Rhinebeck with their group,
Yep,
they have their Airbnb
and I made paprikash for you, chicken paprikash with
and
tiny little dumplings.
fresh dumpling from scratch.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fun.
So what are you gonna cook tonight? What are you gonna eat tonight?
I actually haven't made my mind off.
Okay.
I made lunch though because it was time for that, and that is also a Hungarian dish. Would you
Ooh.
happen to know what a farmer's cheese is?
No.
Okay, so farmer's cheese kind of looks like cottage cheese, but not that wet. And
Okay.
it is crumbly. It doesn't have the
Mhm.
defined little gobs itself. It is kind of crumbly. So imagine a loose version of feta,
Okay.
okay? But feta is sheep milk and the farmer's cheese is cow's milk.
Okay.
Okay, so
Cool,
it
cool,
is
cool,
a
cool.
funky
So
consistency cheese thing.
it's crumbly but cow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So imagine feta, but it is
Right.
crumbly and a bit wetter.
Okay.
It does not come in a block. It comes by weight because
Okay.
it's
Cool.
crumbly. Okay,
Yes.
so with that, and you need bacon, obviously. Bacon makes
Why?
everything better.
Of
So
course.
it's nice smoked bacon. You chop it up into little pieces and you
Uh-huh.
fry it a little bit. And
Yeah.
you collect the bacon fat and you
Fat.
separate the little fried bacon pieces. And the
Okay.
bacon fat you are mixing with sour cream and with the farmer's cheese.
Sure.
And then you cook pasta. Um, if you have that sort of egg noodle that is kind of like a flatter, little bit wavy
Oh,
thing,
it's not even
like
spiral.
no,
Okay.
no, no, no. It does not have
It's
a shape. It is a
okay.
sort of kind of rectangle-ish. That might be
Yeah.
the best, but it works with some
Okay.
others too. I today used bow tie pasta because that's what I had at home. It
Sure.
needs to be something relatively flat. Okay, you
Okay.
you don't you
Okay.
don't want
You
fancy
don't need
curly
to
noodles with it.
you don't
Something
need to
flat.
trap the juice or
Nope, nope.
whatever the
There is
sauce.
no
Uh-huh.
juice.
Uh-huh. All right.
So you cook that pasta, your relatively flat pasta, and you
Mm-hmm.
mix it with this sour cream, farmer's cheese, bacon fat combo. So you will have your pasta
Uh-huh.
covered with flavor and with little gobs of the farmer's
All
cheese,
right.
and
Yeah.
then you can sprinkle the little pieces of bacon that you fried.
Bacon at the end.
So this is
Mm.
how I like it. Some people eat this with not the bacon pieces added, but they like it with a coarsely ground black pepper, which is also
Okay.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Or some interesting people eat it with confectioner's sugar, like the powdered
Ooh.
sugar. I
But it's
think that's
savory and sweet.
yes, I think that's a
Okay.
dessert, but it's good. It's good. So that's what I made for lunch.
I mean, I have
I
had a bacon donut, like donut covered with
it can be
bacon.
good.
Like,
I just like to have my this dish
yeah,
with the savory
with the
flavors. I would
savory
not put
flavor. Okay.
powdered sugar on it, but I don't blame people who do because it's still delicious.
Well, that sounds good. And now you made me hungry because,
Yeah, I'm kind of hungry talking about this too.
well, after your old fashioned, I'm pretty sure you're ready for the next meal. Well, again, thank you
Yeah,
so much for volunteering
thank you.
to talk to me with me, and I will see you soon, if not in October, but hopefully we will do our
No,
Zoom at
I
some point.
yeah,
We need to geared up. I mean, tell everyone to come back and do Zoom every now and then, because after we all got vaccinated, we started going out again. We
yeah.
kind of we
But
kind of slowed down on the Zoom.
if it would be a chart of any sort, then it looked like that for the time of when everybody was confined to their home, we were literally meeting every day.
Every
Every
day.
day, every
I'm not
evening,
kidding.
the chat channel was like busy every moment. My
Yes.
phone went crazy. I had to turn off notifications. There was just too many messages. So I would look at when I can. So we were meeting every day, all the time. And as things got lighter with the vaccination and returning to work, it's less and less and less. We
Mm-hmm.
still love each other. We still have both the chat channel and everything going on. We just don't meet on Zoom so often. But on the
Wow.
other hand, I'm sure you mentioned this before, but before we all knew each other from Facebook, none of us have ever met before. And we only started slowly meeting
Mm-hmm.
each other when the pandemic was kind of slowing down. And we still have a couple of members we haven't met,
That
but
is
most
true.
of us we met in one or another combination by traveling the country. We are all over. We are all over.
Yeah.
So Jersey, Boston, Cleveland, Ohio, and
Minnesota,
Minnesota,
DC,
um, DC, um,
Philippines.
in the Philippines, and New Orleans, Los Angeles.
Yes.
Am I missing anyone from the Tide group? Oh, and I'm sorry, South Carolina.
Oh my god.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So we are all over the place, and either we met each other one by one through travel and catching
Well,
up with each other, or some of us at
yeah, and
Rhinebeck.
Laura is in
Laura is in
uh
Oregon. She's in Oregon.
Oregon's West
Yeah.
Coast. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my left hand. I was thinking of, anyway.
Yeah. The left
Yes.
of you.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, I think we can again say thank you, and from this channel, thank you, Eva. And for everyone, I actually already have some interview for the month of May, but this is for a Pride Pot Mall that I will put in information after this. But for my night shift friends, it will be like Eva and Keenan. I will continue. Hopefully, people will be comfortable enough to have an hour and a half chat with me to be
Oh
recorded.
my gosh.
And
It was definitely not the 20 minutes that you imagine.
I was like, Eva, it's just
But
gonna be
we
20
should have
minutes.
known. Once we start talking, it's just hard to
and,
stop.
and that perfect timing of your bartender. Oh my god, all the time. But yeah, thank you again. And I will definitely see you. Well, don't go out yet. After I hit the end recording, we can still talk. But just
Sounds
for the recording purpose, I will
good.
hit the end recording and then I will see everyone soon. Okay, bye. Thanks, Eva.
Okay. Bye.